There is a growing mental health crisis among the youth in public schools. What can teachers do to support them? I just came across this article and it is titled "New Survey of Connecticut Teachers Details Burden of Growing Youth Mental Health Crisis." And briefly, I just want to give some commentary on this article, relate my experiences, and then possibly offer some solutions to this issue. So let's actually see what the article says first. Here, starting with at the very top, the majority of public school teachers in Connecticut said they are not equipped to handle the worsening mental health needs of their students. Across the state, educators are reporting an increase in concern about depression and suicidal ideation, said Kate Diaz, president of the CEA. According to Diaz, 89% of teachers surveyed spoke to the concern about increased stress and anxiety, and 82% are concerned with increased aggression and dysregulated behaviors from students. Going down here, it says, "We're not trained as social workers." They're still struggling, Diaz said. They have one school psychologist for 2,423 students. That's not a great ratio. Their school social workers are at 445 per social worker. That's a lot of need. And that's actually pretty accurate as far as what I can tell, because we have one school social worker that works with all of middle school. And yeah, we have just in that range between 400 to 500 students in our middle school. So our social worker is responsible for all of them. And if you scroll down here, you can see this graph or chart here that just lists all the things that are reported. It says, over the past few years, what kinds of behavioral changes are you seeing in your students and what not? So, like I said, I'm going to give some commentary on this, but just relate my experiences and tell you some of the solutions that I have seen that are out there. So if you are a teacher and you are noticing these things with your students as well, I just want to give you some things to think about. So the school district I currently work in has two strategies that they have implemented over the past few years, which I believe are useful. And so I'm going to talk about each of those. And the first is Wellness Fridays, and the second is Second Step. So let's talk about these Wellness Fridays. This is how Wellness Friday at our school works. On Fridays, students get a half day. On those Fridays that students get a half day, teachers stay the full day and participate in professional development, planning, and sometimes Second Step, which I'll get to in a moment. Every last Friday of the month is called Wellness Friday. Teachers also have a half day, and they are encouraged to take wellness measures such as going to the spa, doing whatever you need to do to get your mental health in check. And there are several reasons why I think this is a great idea, especially in the post-COVID era. And, just as the article mentioned, with the mental health crisis that we are seemingly faced with, the students always look forward to that half day. So they get a half day on Friday. And then, teachers also get to stop teaching at lunchtime. It's a short day. Sometimes it's even a pep rally day. But teachers still get to fill in the gaps in instruction, and it's a very light day. And then they have professional development, and one of the biggest stressors in teaching is trying to manage all the behaviors of the students, and to not have to worry about that during the tail end of the day is really a blessing for teachers. And they also get professional development and get to really hone in on their craft. And like I said, the last Friday of each month, you get to leave when the students leave and just kind of go take care of whatever business you need to handle that you aren't able to do during a normal weekday. And there are several reasons why this is so beneficial, but I think that one of the things that for me is that the mental health of teachers trickles down to the students. If teachers aren't doing well mentally, then the students are going to suffer for that. And giving teachers that Wellness Friday, that time to take off or to get professional development in, or to participate in Second Step, which, like I said, I'm going to talk about in a second, that really does help with that. It gives teachers something to look forward to every last Friday of the month. And I think when it comes to mental health, you need a holistic approach. And so in this regard, I think that the approach of our district is pretty sound, not only just considering the students, but considering the teachers and their needs as well. And I think that the students benefit from this. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about, and that I've referred to several times now, is Second Step. And we're going to go over here and look at the Second Step website. So Second Step is a program that, as it says here on the website, empowered with skills for life. Second Step programs help students build social emotional skills like nurturing positive relationships, managing emotions, and meeting goals so they can thrive in school and in life. And of course, you have all the selling points here. And this is a program that your district has to buy into or purchase. It is very expensive if you try and do it on your own. It's as you can see here, the prices, $2,500 plus. So it's pricey, but it's worth it for school districts that feel the way that these Connecticut schools described in this article. The Second Step program helps students develop social emotional skills. For example, this past week we had a Second Step lesson on learning. The Second Step program, it basically gives teachers lessons, slideshow lessons that include videos, worksheets, activities, and things like that you can take care of in 15 to 20 minutes. And they teach students different things. The one we did this past week was on how the brain learns. And it asked students, have you ever made a mistake that you learned from? What are the ways to overcome mistakes? And what are some things you can do in the future? It also goes over things such as depression and anxiety. It talks about diversity. It talks about bullying. It talks about harassment. All of these subjects that are beneficial for students to learn in order to just function better in society, socially and emotionally. I mean, it does exactly what the what we read on that first page. It just imbues them with certain skills. And we use the Second Step program every single Friday. So that's the first thing that we do in the mornings. Students have their breakfast, and the first 20 or so minutes of class is just set aside. All of the homeroom teachers give Second Step to their homeroom classes. And It's yeah. I mean, there's. I would just say that it is really beneficial, and it's one of my favorite parts of the week because it's a step back, a step away from the normal routine, and students have the opportunity to talk about different things that may be bothering them, that may be troubling them, and talking about solutions to those issues. So, and I think that because this program has been put in place for several years now, what we're seeing is that, the second step lessons, for example, for middle school are the same for every grade. So this year I'm teaching seventh grade, and the students that I have this year also had second step last year, but it was the same. So it's like a refresher. So as time goes on, students are these skills and these ideas that we're teaching through the program are being reinforced every single year. And I think that there is a long-term benefit to that. These are things that I was not taught when I was in school. I was not educated on bullying other than, oh, if you're bullied, go tell a teacher. But the second step program goes in depth into the subject. It talks about, why students bully. It even encourages students. Students, for example, an activity might be, okay, turn and talk to the person next to you, and who are some people that you feel comfortable going to. So students, may discuss with their classmates, who are the people we can go to? This teacher, this social worker, this person, that person, and you discuss that in class. So even if some students aren't sure, they can get ideas from their peers, and it just is a really great thing for them. Also, like I said, there is adult SEL. So sometimes on those Fridays after students go home, we may meet in professional development, and that professional development may be based around second step. So us as educators, we can talk about things that we are dealing with, even things related to the students and the stress that we experience in the classroom, and get to discuss that with other teachers and find solutions. For us, we may be asked, well, who are some coworkers that you can go and talk to when you are feeling stressed at school? So those are just two solutions and things that I have seen that I firmly believe in, and I think that they do work. And so as we're seeing in this article, Connecticut teachers are saying, we're not trained as social workers. Sure, you're not trained as a social worker, but you are a teacher. And it doesn't matter whether it's your content area. Sure, you're assigned a specific content area, or you chose it, and that's what you teach. But an educator goes beyond what they are trained and teaches more than their content area. And I think that if you take that into consideration and take that to heart, then you should be able to still educate students on social dynamics, how to interact with others and fit into social settings, how to handle and manage your emotions to deal with stress and anxiety and some of those things that they are struggling with. You don't necessarily have to be a social worker, but you can be an educator and still teach them some of these things. And second step, yes, it is pricey and it does cost, but I would recommend for teachers and administrators to look into things like this, because I do think that they are valuable and add value to the classroom. And if you're a teacher that doesn't have access to these kinds of resources, I'm sure that there are some online. I would do some research. Just look into social emotional learning lessons and try and find something that you think will be helpful for your students. Take just a few minutes out of your class time to go over these concepts, these ideas with students, and I think that it will reap rewards in the long term. So that is my commentary on this article, my suggestions, and my experiences. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure that if you did, that you hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel so that you stay up to date on all of the informational and educational videos that I'm going to be putting out. And yeah, I will see you in the future.